Hi, welcome back to the Political Beat. I'm Pat. This is my friend Chip. We cover City Hall for LFpress.com and the London Free Press. And
are these mics live?
These mics are live, and we're not going to start with swear words like that poor, unfortunate Bismarck, North Dakota news
North
anchor.
Dakota. Welcome to North Dakota.
The poor guy. And remember how I said I want to keep things short? We're going to actually try to keep it short this week.
Good luck with that.
Because I know how busy you and I are both are with other things, and I'm feeling sick. Like I feel really nasally. Can you hear it?
Oh yeah.
That's
what's new in that.
I had a very wise person give me something called oil of oregano, which is, you know what that is? It's like an alternative medicine.
Is that something comes?
No, it's you ingest it.
Oh, but through the mouth.
It's orally, yes.
Okay, good.
Anyway, so it's helped me feel a lot better, but I still don't feel great. Let's just do it. Great story, Chip, again earlier this week on, and this is sort of an extra council situation. It's not directly related to City Hall, but it is involving Mayor Joe Fontana and the Trinity Global Support Foundation. That is the charity on which he sat on the board and his son is the president, and boyhood chum Vincent Ciccone founded. What was the result of?
I didn't think you read anything I wrote.
I read everything. I think the story was great. So,
well, okay. What happened on Tuesday? We found out that the judge who'd heard the case against revocation launched by Fontana's lawyers the previous week, the judge ruled that in fact the Canada Revenue Agency, the revocation would stand, and that the arguments against it were not valid. The bottom line here is that the license, the charitable license of Trinity Global Support Foundation, that the mayor sits on and his son is president of, can no longer issue charitable tax receipts, and a lot of people only donate to places so that they can get charitable tax receipts. So it's likely going to have a significant amount of impact on it. $152 million in receipts was issued last year. I think the picture is going to change dramatically. They said they'd go to business in 9 months if they lost their status, and they've also indicated that they're looking at appealing. The lawyer said last week if he lost, he was going to appeal, but of course the final decision is with the charity, and they will need to pay for that. So we'll have to see how this all plays out.
So is it going too far to say that the Canada Revenue Agency ruled that there was maybe some hanky-panky going on and they weren't comfortable with that? Is that going too far?
We have not seen a definitive explanation from the Canada Revenue Agency as to why they wanted it revoked and why they revoked the status. But as I understand, in a general sense, it relates to valuations that were placed on the gifts and the heart, at the heart of the charity, what was being donated and to whom.
So I give you $50 worth of something, you give it to someone else, and then give me a receipt that says that what I donated was in fact worth $5,000.
Yes, because I had it evaluated at a larger amount. So that's what the key central issue on that whole thing is. Now, the Canada Revenue Agency has warned all sorts of people in a number of releases and notices over the last number of months. Anyone who donates to a charity that's connected to a tax shelter will have their returns audited and will be looked at, and they're going to take their time to do it. So if something sounds a little, and in a general sense now, we're at tax time, if something sounds a little too good to be true, just be careful.
Excellent. And again, for the mayor's perspective, he's not in any personal peril at all. It's just maybe it doesn't look great, correct?
Yeah, it's appearances. He spearheaded this charity for some time, and now it had its status revoked. They've raised a number of millions of dollars, and they've contributed to some good programs, school lunch programs, computer software, HIV medicines, a number of things. But now all that is gone by the boards because they're going to run out of money now that people will not be donating.
Yeah, and his son, who was the president, this is Fontana's son. You and he have not actually spoken, right? You've been unable to actually reach him?
Not this week. No.
Yeah, this week. So no comment from him yet. No. Okay, so let's go back inside City Hall now. Interesting issue that was up on Tuesday, and you covered the meeting, was a revival of the talk of an integrity commissioner. Now, let's start with what that is.
Well, an integrity commissioner is, under the Municipal Act, municipalities may appoint an integrity commissioner. They don't need to, but it's a person that will look into complaints about conduct of members of council. This is beyond things like criminal activity, beyond things like breaching privacy, conflict of interest, but other complaints that people may have about council members.
Can I give you an example? 2006, I'm at a Maple Leafs game, and Rob Ford was a city councilor at the time, is in my section drunkenly getting ejected by staff. That would be and someone had recognized him as city councilor Rob Ford. That would be a matter for the integrity commissioner? Or maybe not.
I don't know if it's outside the confines of City Hall. I don't know. That's a very good question. But,
Okay.
But at any rate, an integrity commissioner was shot down. Spending money to look at how they could set up an integrity commissioner was shot down back in
October, no,
September,
in the fall,
October,
yeah.
some time ago. And now the matter has come back because what they did is they asked staff to report back on best practices and what can be done. Staff reported back on best practices, suggested that Toronto and Mississauga are on the right track, and in order to enforce a code of conduct, which has to be updated because it's been rather stale now, that the way to do this is to have an integrity commissioner, to have some teeth and to have some enforcement. So now they looked at it, and the committee that looked at it, Corporate Services, I think it was, decided that they're in favor of it, including the mayor, including Steve Orser, including people who were opposed
to it only 6 months ago.
Saying that it was going to cost a lot of money. But now all of a sudden they seem to have a change of tune. So.
Well, we know that it's not going to cost a lot of money, or we're quite certain that it isn't. But what do you attribute that sort of change of heart to? Is it 2014 is not that far away?
That's part of it, and I believe I think Joni Beckler may be right that a lot of people were calling City Hall. They were upset with some of the shenanigans that have been going on there and some of the conduct of people there, and there may be public pressure there. And of course, these politicians are looking forward to the next election. So we'll know at council next week when it's up for a vote. See how widespread it is. The central question is this going to be a reconsideration? Do they need to have 10 votes in order to?
So a 2/3 majority to reopen the debate.
Yeah, to reopen it. The mayor is saying no, it shouldn't need that because that's not really the way it played out, and I'm going to push this thing through. So the newfound the conversion on the road to Damascus here, perhaps the mayor is going to try to push this thing through when he was very much against it last fall, citing the costs of up to $500,000 a year.
When an integrity commissioner who works and lives in London and serves other communities says $5,000 might be a more likely annual bill. And again, to be clear, that there's even some confusion among some of our colleagues. This doesn't interfere at all with the role of the Ombudsman. Ombudsman of Ontario strictly looks at secret meetings.
But they could have an integrity commissioner look into secret meetings, and then they could get rid of the Ombudsman. But the Ombudsman doesn't cost the city anything, so why wouldn't you?
So why do that? Yeah, okay. Well, isn't that an interesting turn of events? And I think there'll be a lot, if they do indeed go ahead with it and approve it, I think a lot of people will see that as a major sea change. And now what's behind the sea change?
Yes,
I don't know.
That's right. Hopefully we'll see some hints about what's behind the sea change. I mean, even Stephen Orser, who was going on and on about the $500,000 this is going to cost, we can't afford it, now saying, well, I've had my problems in the past and I support this now. It could be costly, but I still support it. So we'll have to see.
I think there was a lot of very negative feedback, and I think that probably, to your point about what Councillor Beckler said, that probably is a big factor in it.
Yeah, and we'll look for hints in terms of how the debate goes.
Sure, yeah, and that's going to be on Tuesday. So, and then last but not least, Veterans Memorial Parkway.
You were there. Tell us
I was there. Oh, well, there's residents who live along the west side, sort of between Dundas and Trafalgar, who say the noise is just outrageous in terms of not just the traffic. There's 25,000 vehicles a day on there, but particularly the heavy truck traffic. It's really diminished their ability to enjoy their backyards. There's a natural sound barrier there, a hill and some trees.
A berm.
A berm, that's correct. They want an actual physical wall, which would cost something in the order of 5 or 6 times what improving the berm would cost. The committee went with the berm, much to the chagrin of the neighbors, and this is with staff saying that in fact, hard to believe that a berm, so this natural sort of pile of soil or trees or what have you, was actually better at deflecting the sound than a physical wall is, which surprised me.
Now, what were the dollar differences though? There was a lot of
$3,000, $300,000 for the berm improvements, and you'd be looking at close to 1.7 for a full wall, 1.7 million.
Do you think the money played a factor in this?
I do, except, I mean, we often say, well, staff doesn't get listened to, and then here the staff is saying the cheapest option is the best option. And I don't really know how you can sit here and say, well, they shouldn't have listened to the staff this time. But anyway.
Well, the good thing about a berm instead of a fence is that a berm doesn't usually get graffiti put on it.
Very true. Yeah.
A berm isn't going anywhere. Fence boards can, if it's just wood, for instance. So, the experts say that it's better for deflecting sound.
And I wonder too, you build a wall, it doesn't work, and then you just got a wall. What do you do with it? You can't improve it, you can't build on it. So anyway, so there's all that, but that raises the larger issue. and after all these many years you've been covering it, that you'd be not surprised to hear that some people felt it's the east end of the city sort of getting short shrift once again.
Yep, and they talk about the barrier walls, like for instance at the Hunt Club on the west end and in the south end on Commissioners, and they say we're hard done by. But I mean, that's a berm, and if it's Superior, they've got a better deal. All they need to do is improve it, right?
Right, but do you feel like that is, are you getting a little tired of that narrative of, well, we're from the east end and we've had enough of getting the short shrift, or is there a point there? I mean, it sort of hangs in the air in every debate.
Bernie McDonald used to play that card quite well when he was in Ward 3 in the East End, and he was always talking about the potholes, and then no one cares about us. We're second-class citizens. We're in the East End. But I know, Patrick, when I live in the North, and when my kids were going to sports facilities, we spent all our time going over to the East End because all the good sports facilities are over in the East End, for instance. So they do have some good things, a lot of good things going for them in the East End, and that song gets a little tiring after a while.
But it's there, though. It definitely hangs in the air in every debate, and it was there in that one, and I'm sure it'll come up again on Tuesday, when I don't doubt that Councillors Polhill and Armstrong will again speak out in favor of a full wall, which is when Council will be finally voting. Whew, that was good, Chip. Well, that was really, I think that was fast.
Well,
no, I mean, maybe not good, but definitely fast.
The ratings, the overnights. How are we doing against DLTV again?
I don't have the ratings.
No,
I don't have the Nielsen numbers.
I can't wait to see them.
The overnights. That's really good. That's a good TV term. Anyway, on behalf of Chip, I'm Pat. Thanks for watching, and join us again next time at lfpress.com.